Hello, everybody, and welcome to IGN's review discussion of The Witcher 3. I am your host, Vince Ingenito. I'm also the guy who had the good fortune of reviewing it for IGN. And with me, I'm joined by three friends who are going to talk about it with me. I got John Ryan.
Hi there.
Brendan Graber.
Hello.
And Max Scoville.
Howdy.
Before we dive into everything, though, let's, in case you missed it, take a look at what my verdict was on The Witcher 3.
Though the straightforward and fetch quest heavy main story overstays its welcome, the option of joyfully adventuring through a rich, expansive open world was always there for me when I'd start to burn out. Even if the plot isn't terribly interesting, the many characters who play a part in it are, and along with the excellent combat and RPG gameplay, they elevate The Witcher 3 to a plane few other RPGs inhabit.
All right, so now let's dive into a little bit more of the open world activities, because as we were saying when we talked about the story, you can actually do a fair bit of wandering and kind of find out more about the world that way, comparatively to other open world games or other open world RPGs. How free do we feel like you really are in The Witcher, and how much is there to do? Personally, I thought there was tons, and that most of it was very rewarding to do. But what did you guys think?
This is why I would buy the game. The main story is great, and there's a lot of really cool characters you'll meet along the way, and the side quests are awesome. But or not the side quests, but the main quests and the missions and stuff, I think those are really good. But the reason that I would say to my friends, hey, if you haven't picked it up yet, go buy The Witcher, is for the open world. Because, it's gargantuan, there's so much to do, there's so much to see, and even just riding through the world, not even with any particular goal or mission on track, you just ride around and you'll hear people having a conversation, like a kid singing a nursery rhyme about the Emperor, and then his dad being like, where the hell did you hear that? You'll kill us all, you can't do that. And you sit like that and you just listen to people talk and ride through the vast wilderness that they give you. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's an amazing open world. It feels markedly different from, say, Skyrim, where, Skyrim feels very vertical, and there's layers. I also feel like there's mountains in Skyrim, there's dungeons in Skyrim. I feel like most of The Witcher's open world feels it's not flat at all.
No.
It feels like a landscape, but it's above ground. It's about
spread out.
It's spread out. It's about hills and valleys.
There's a few caves, not many. They're not very deep.
But that's the thing. It's width as opposed to depth.
Yes.
I know that you played a lot of Skyrim, Max. How did you feel about the open world activities?
Didn't. So I think I've been trying to scratch that Skyrim itch, which was in itself scratching that Fallout itch.
Yeah.
And since then, I've fallen in love with Far Cry, GTA 5. I love the sense of exploration in a really well thought out open world. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. I was a little bit worried initially, kind of on the first map of Witcher, that wasn't going to do that for me. And I just got to kind of the second big area, which is a lot more to explore, and it's a lot more exploration heavy.
Yeah.
And I did one thing that has made my experience a lot more like Skyrim, which I don't think a lot of people are necessarily going to do. I turned off the mini-map. And the world is so incredibly beautiful and so just detailed and full of life. And if you're looking at a mini-map the whole time, you're kind of just looking at your next objective and what's around you.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of stuff in the dialogue, people will give you directions to stuff. It'll be just go off the bridge and take a right, another right, go straight as piss and you're right there. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna turn off the map and actually follow those directions. And I did that, got horribly lost, died, tried again. But I'm looking at, they've got this day-night cycle, so you can actually track where, was the sun to your back or to your face? Did it warm your back or your face? And there are things in the world that help you navigate the world, and I think if you've got too much UI in the HUD, it doesn't do any favors. So I've been trying to change that, and it's been really, really rewarding.
Yeah,
and that sense of discovery is it's there. It's doing it. It makes me really happy.
Oh yeah.
I just want to get lost.
Yep.
Are you getting lost?
Speaking to the sense of discovery, I love how there are there's the side quests, the notice board highlights areas that you read about, and some things that you read about that don't necessarily pop, but they're still there. There's some areas, I don't want to get too spoiled, but there's some areas, and then the first area you're in, you talk to people and you learn that where the Nilfgaardian encampment is, it used to be a manor, way back when. And you talk to the populace, you can find out more about what happened before the invasion.
Yep.
And you learn about this hunter used to like this guy, and that guy was the Lord's son, and some crazy stuff happened, and then that spawned this monster quest of this ghost in the well, and that all culminated to this graveyard, and you can find the grave of that kid.
Yeah, it's
and like all this stuff is here if you're willing to find it, and just through conversation or a scrap of parchment. And it's like, it's really immense. The one thing I would say that I don't like is that sometimes there are like multiple ways to enter a quest. And if you go the wrong way, you block out the other ones. Like there's hidden treasure.
That's your wiki's mind.
That's my wiki's mind. It's my OCD mind, because then I might start a quest and it's like, oh, there's some valuables. I'm like, but I already got those valuables and I can't
Are
finish
there
the
more
quest.
valuables?
I mean,
No.
bear in mind this is the sequel to a game where if you chose one thing halfway through the game, you got a different second half to
Yes,
the game.
yeah. And
It
this-
is relying on you to actually, you got to choose something.
I'm
Exactly.
OCD on that. I want to do
Yeah.
everything, and I want to like go back and like, okay, wait, I'm gonna go this way now.
But to the point that you're making, though, what's really impressive, and there's different ways that you reward exploration in an open world game, right? Like, for instance, Dragon Age. One of the things I loved about Dragon Age Inquisition was that no matter which direction I went, I felt like, I know what kind of side quests I decided to partake in or open world activities I partook in, there was always a reward kind of at the end. In Witcher 3, it's not about like a gear reward or I mean, there's those, and there's cool treasure caches you can find,
Yep.
hidden items and like fat loot and all that good stuff. But the real thing is that all these side quests that you find throughout the world, they're not just hey, go kill this dude for me, please. There's always, like, I mean, ostensibly from
There's
a
a
gameplay
reason behind
standpoint,
it.
that is
Yes.
what it is. But there's almost always some kind of a meaningful flavor and
Yeah.
Even the hidden treasure, it's just like there's a reason that you can find a note of why that treasure is there
Yeah.
in the first place. Even the ones that don't even like, there's no quest for it. Like I can blood on a brick wall, find a hidden thing that's not on the map, and find a note like, oh, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna leave my treasure here. I'm like,
Yes.
cool.
A little bit baffling to think that we've come to accept that doing something like slaying a monster or finding hidden treasure would be at all perfunctory or boring. And this is a game that totally doesn't do that. So.
yeah. No, I totally agree. It's impressive how no matter where you go, no matter how big the world is, everything feels crafted, and there isn't this strong delineation between, hey, this is a story thing, and this is some like stupid thing you do on the side. Everything feels like a story thing, no matter what part of the game you're playing, and it's really
Yeah.
impressive. And that's all the time we have for now. But for more on what we thought about The Witcher 3, stay right here on IGN.